हरे कृष्णा। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome back to the second day of this course, Demystifying Raganuga Bhakti. So primarily this course, as we discussed yesterday, is based on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu with some addendums and excerpts from the book Ragavartma Chandrika by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It also has some important points from the book Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani by Srila Shivaram Swami Maharaj, and also Manas Siksha by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. So, as we discussed yesterday, this Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti it comes next after the discussion of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, which we did elaborately in the previous course. The next theme that is discussed in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. And yesterday we started revisiting some old concepts which are connected to the discussion that we will be doing now. First, we started by recollecting the definition of pure devotional service, Uttama Bhakti. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushelanam bhakti uttama. So the four elements of Uttama Bhakti. And then we discussed the definition of Sadhana Bhakti. Before that, we saw that this Uttama Bhakti or pure devotional service can be performed on the platform of practice or on the platform of perfection. On the platform of practice, it is called as Cheshta Rupa Anushilanam. Cheshta means where only the mind and senses are engaged in the service of Krishna, but there may not be any spiritual emotions involved in it. And on the level of perfection, it is called as Bhava Rupa Anushilanam, where not only are the mind and senses involved, but it involves spiritual emotions also. So, in that we tried to understand what is Sadhana Bhakti. Sadhana Bhakti, we saw Kriti Sadhya Bhavet Sadhya Bhavasa Sadhana Bida. Sadhana Bhakti means consciously engaging the mind and the senses in activities of Krishna consciousness with a desire to achieve the perfect stage of bhava, which means there is no bhava, which means there is no spiritual emotions. So sadhana bhakti is uttama bhakti only, but without spiritual emotions. And then the third definition that we recollected yesterday was the definition of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. We saw that sadhana bhakti or devotional service in practice has two types. One is Vaidhi sadhana, another is Raganuga sadhana. We understood why these two they differ based on the impetus. Where is that inspiration to practice that bhakti coming from? If it is coming from Shastras, if it is coming from the instructions of the Guru and Sadhus, then it is called as Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. But if that inspiration is coming from greed to follow in the footsteps of the Vrajavasis, then it is called as Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. Basically, it is Uttama Bhakti and it is Sadhana Bhakti only, but the inspiration differs. This is what we saw. Definition of Vaidhi Sadhana. Yatra Raga Anavaptatvat Pravrittir Upajayate Shasanenaiva Shastrasya Sa Vaidhi Bhakti Ruchyate. Where there is no spontaneous greed to follow in the footsteps of Vrajavasis, but still the activities of sadhana bhakti are practiced primarily based on the instructions of scriptures, Guru and Sadhu, it is called as Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. So as a sequel to this, we discussed the definition of Raganuga sadhana. Virajantim abhivyaktam Vrajavasi janadishu Ragatmikam Anusrita Yasa Ragatmika Uchyate. So we saw the definition of Ragatmika Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti means when a person develops that inspiration to follow in the footsteps of the Ragatmika Bhaktas, which means the Vrajavasis, that is called as Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Vivekartam Adau Ragatmika Uchyate. So Bhakti Srila Rupa Goswami says, in order to understand Raganuga, you have to understand Ragatmika, which means what is the love of the Vrajavasis for Krishna. Unless we understand and appreciate this, we cannot understand Raganuga Bhakti. So therefore, with a desire to explain Raganuga, he explains about the love that the Vrajavasis have for Krishna, even though this section is not appropriate to discuss this subject matter, because the subject matter is still sadhana bhakti only, and the love of the Vrajavasis for Krishna is not Raganuga. It is not devotional service in practice, but it is devotional service in perfection. But still, a glimpse is given about their love for Krishna so that we can understand this concept of Raganuga Bhakti properly. So, what is this love of the Vrajavasis? What is this Ragatmika Bhakti? Srila Rupa Goswami says, Ishte Swarasiki Raga Paramavishtata Bhavet Tanmayi Ya Bhavet Bhakti Sa Atra Ragatmika Udita. So he says, Ishte Swarasiki Raga. When there is a spontaneous, deep thirst for pleasing Krishna, Ishte, for the object of love Krishna. And how is the deep thirst understood? From deep absorption in activities for pleasing Krishna, like cooking for Krishna, stringing garlands for Krishna, or churning butter for Krishna. From the deep absorption in those activities, one can identify the deep thirst they have for pleasing Krishna. And when all the activities of bhakti are solely driven by the deep thirst to please Krishna, then that kind of a bhakti is called as Ragatmika Bhakti. And this kind of bhakti is seen in Vrajavasis. And we saw the difference. The Vrajavasis' love for Krishna is not affected by a display or non-display of Krishna's Aishwarya or opulence. We saw the difference between Arjuna and Mother Yashoda as an example. Both saw the universal form, but Mother Yashoda's Vatsalya increased on seeing that universal form, but Arjuna's Sakya Bhav decreased. So therefore, an understanding of the Aishwarya of Krishna is not a part of their emotional cultivation. This is the speciality which is seen only in Vrajavasis. It is not seen in even Dwarakavasis. It is not seen in the devotees of any other incarnation of the Lord. Not in Lord Narasimha, Vamana, Rama, Parashuram. In none of their devotees, this kind of mood is seen. Whether it is Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras or Madhuryaras or Dasyaras in Vrindavan, whether a show of opulence, whether a show of Aishwarya is seen or not seen, whether Krishna kills demons. In killing demons, Krishna shows some Aishwarya. But that does not affect their Vatsalya Bhav. That does not affect their Sakya Bhav. They know it. They have seen it. But it is not part of their cultivation of a relationship with Krishna. It does not affect their emotional bonding with Krishna. If at all it does something, it only increases their sweet mood of relationship. That is the speciality of only the Vrajavasis' love for Krishna, and it is not seen anywhere else. And we saw yesterday that this Ragatmika Bhakti is of two types. One is Kama Rupa and the other is Sambandha Rupa. Kama Rupa means that in which a conjugal relationship is seen. The mood of relating with Krishna is conjugal. It is also Ragatmika only, but it is a special type of Ragatmika in which the thirst, the absorption is in conjugal type of activities with Krishna. Like between a male and a female youth, the kind of love that is existing between them. And Sambandha Rupa includes Vatsalya, Dasya and Sakhya. But one may say, Kama is also, or a loving relationship between a male and a female, that is also a relationship. Why that is separately given? Because that is the topmost type of relationship. Therefore, it is separately labeled. So this is where we ended our discussion yesterday. So now we will start seeing some scriptural proofs from the Shastras, where is there any proof that is given for the existence of these two types of Ragatmika Bhakti. Of course, we know so many pastimes in Vrindavan and other places, but still, is it specifically mentioned somewhere? So, Srila Rupa Goswami quotes a small section from the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the instruction of Narada Muni to Yudhishthir Maharaj. So, Yudhishthir Maharaj asks a question about, is Krishna really partial? We hear that Krishna is impartial. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priya. Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. But is Krishna really impartial? Because during the Rajasuya Yagya, when Krishna killed Shishupal, and Shishupal attains Sayujya Mukti, his soul merges into the body of Krishna. And Yudhishthir Maharaj is totally bewildered. What is this? Katamopi na Vena syad. Vena also hated Krishna, but Vena went to hell. Shishupal hated Krishna more than Vena. He attains liberation. What is this logic? I don't understand. Vena also hated the Supreme Lord. So is Krishna really partial or what? So, in response to that, of course it's a long discussion, we will not get into that whole discussion. That is not the subject matter that we are discussing. We are trying to discuss some proofs for the presence of this Kama Rupa and Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti in the scriptures. Okay? So I don't want to divert that attention. So we are, just to give some context to this verse that we are going to discuss, I spoke. So in this verse, Narada Muni tells Yudhishthir Maharaj, Kamad, Dveshad, Bayad, Snehad, Yata Bhaktyeshware Manaha, Aveshya Tadagam Hitva, Bahavas Tadgatim Gataha. He says, Yata Bhaktya, just as by Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, one can attain the goal of prema, Bahavaha, many people, Tadgatim Gataha, they have attained liberation. How? Manaha Ishware Aveshya, by absorbing their mind on Krishna. In what way? Kamad, by conjugal attraction. Dveshad, by hatred. Bhayat, by fear. Snehad. Snehad means by family relationships like friendship, parental affection, or dasya, servitude. Tad agam hitva. So they attained their goals after giving up enmity and other such unfavorable emotions. Like in the case of, we see fear and hatred. These are unfavorable emotions. These are emotions which are like inimical towards Krishna. So, but still Krishna awards them, because instead of using that hatred and focusing that hatred on other people, because that person is completely absorbed in thinking about Krishna, Krishna gives some benefit of doubt. Because as Vaidhi sadhakas, we know how difficult it is to think about Krishna. Most of the time we are thinking about ourselves. But people like Kamsa and Shishupal, they are constantly 24 hours, even during sleeping, thinking about Krishna. They are dreaming about Krishna. So Krishna says, this is incredible. I will award you for that. Even though it may be unfavorable, but Krishna rewards them by giving them liberation. So, who are these people who fall in this category? In the next verse, Krishna says, Narada Muni tells Yudhishthir Maharaj, Gopya Kamad Bayat Kamso Dveshat Chaidyadayo Nripa Sambandad Vrishnayah Snehad Yuyam Bhaktya Vayam Vibho. He says, Gopya Kamad, the gopis of Vrindavan, they absorbed their mind. Their mind was absorbed in Krishna in the mode of conjugal affection. Bhayat Kamso, Kamsa's mind was absorbed in Krishna in a mood of fear. When will this fellow come and kill me? Dvesha Chaidyadayo Nripa. And kings like Shishupal, their hearts, their mind was completely thinking of Krishna in great hatred, Dvesha. Sambandad Vrishnayah, the Vrishnis, especially the Vrajavasis. Of course, even though one may think that Vrishnis generally refer to the to Vasudev and his lineage, but actually Vrishnis in that category, that is the Kshatriya lineage of the Vrishni dynasty. But Nanda Maharaj also was comes in the family lineage of Vrishnis only. So therefore here the Vrishnis refers to the Vrajavasis who came in the line of Nanda Maharaj, rather than the Vrishnis of who came in the lineage of Vasudeva and Devaki. So the Yadus and yourself, Vrishnayah Yuyam, by Sneha Sambandad, Snehad Sambandad, Vayam Bhaktya. And who is the example of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti? Narada Muni says, myself. I worshipped Krishna using Sadhana Bhakti, and I also attained perfection. You see, now I am a perfected devotee. So here he says that Gopya Kamad Bhayat Kamso Dvesha Chaidyadayo Nripa Sambandad Vrishnayah Snehad Yuyam Bhaktya Vayam Vibho. He is giving examples of these. So here Gopya Kamad refers to Kamarupa Ragatmika Bhakti as shown by the gopis of Vrindavan. And there is Snehad Sambandad. Sneha Sambandha refers to the Dasyaras, Sakyaras and Vatsalyaras shown by the Vrajavasis. So that is Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. What are the other things that are mentioned? He says Bhaktya Vayam, that indicates Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Or Sadhana Siddha, Vaidhi Sadhana Siddha, one who has attained perfection by practice of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Okay. What else is there? Kamad, then there is Bhaya and Dvesha also. These two are unfavorable ways of absorbing one's mind in Krishna. Therefore, in the previous verse, Narada Muni says, Tad Agam Hitva. If it is an unfavorable way of meditating on Krishna, then Krishna rewards them for thinking about Krishna, but he removes those sinful tendencies. He removes the Bhaya from the heart of Kamsa and hatred from the heart of Shishupal, and then gives them liberation, like that. So this verse, these two verses, here Rupa Goswami is quoting to give an example. Yes, the Shastras do talk about these two types of Ragatmika Bhakti. One is Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti, which is seen in the gopis of Vrindavan, and the Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti, which is seen in Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda in the form of Vatsalya, in Sridama and Subal in the form of Sakya, and in Raktak, Patrak and other such kind of servants in the form of Dasyaras, like that. So, therefore, it is mentioned here, among those persons, those with hatred or fear, they gave up their sin or the impurity in the heart in the form of fear and hatred, and they attained liberation. So Krishna gave them credit also. It's incredible how much you can constantly think of me. How can I not reward you for that? So Shishupal and Kamsa, who wanted to kill Krishna, they got liberation. Putana wanted to kill Krishna. She got liberation. So therefore, here Uddhava is so feelingly offering this verse. Aho bakiyam stanakala kootam jigamsa yapya yayadapya sadvi lebe gatim datriuchitam tatonyat kamva dayalum sharanam vrajema. So Uddhava is thinking, Aho bakiyam stana kalakutam. She had her that kalakuta poison smeared all over her breast, enough to kill 100 grown-up adults, with the raging desire to kill Krishna. Jigamsaya. But lebe gatim dhatri uchitam. She attained the position of a nurse who came to kill Krishna. Krishna saw that she wanted to kill me by giving me milk, which is the duty of a mother, which is the act of a mother. Kamva dayalum sharanam rajema. How can I take shelter of any other person other than Krishna, who is so mercifully inclined even to persons who hate? But the credit of Putana was she was constantly thinking of Krishna. Before approaching Krishna, she was constantly thinking, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Just like the Goswamis. He Radhe Vraja Devike Chalalite He Nanda Suno Kuta. But this was in a favorable mood of love. That was in a mood of hatred. But nevertheless, Krishna rewarded. Come, come. You came to give me milk, I will never forget it. I will express my gratitude to you. And while leaving her body, she was thinking of Krishna and no one else. So, Krishna removed that impurity and gave them liberation. Aveshya tad agam hitva bahavas tad gatim gataha. My dear Yudhishthir Maharaj, many people have attained liberation. This is the power of absorption in Krishna. Even unfavorable absorption is beneficial. Okay. So therefore, one should not think that the gopis also had material lusty love towards Krishna. Therefore, one should not say, oh, he says, Aveshya tad agam hitva. It is mentioned that Krishna removed their sinful inclinations. So he must have removed the lusty inclinations from the heart of the gopis. No. It was not material lust that the gopis had for Krishna. So this Srila Jiva Goswami wants to clarify it here. So he quotes this verse from the 10th canto where the gopis are mentioned along with Kamsa and Shishupal, just to indicate that if Kamsa and Shishupal could attain liberation by thinking about Krishna, then why would the gopis not attain? This is called as Kaimutya Nyaya. Kaimutya Nyaya means Kimuta. What then to speak of? If Krishna could reward Shishupal and Kamsa even though they had such inimical attitude towards Krishna, why would he not reward gopis who had such pure love for Krishna? So he quotes this verse from Bhagavatam. Dvishan api rishikesham kimuta adokshaja priya. Since even Shishupal who hated Krishna achieved perfection, what to speak of the gopis? Why would they not attain perfection? This statement praises the kama of the gopis, showing how it is superior, even though in verse 7.1.30 it is mentioned alongside bhaya of Kamsa and dvesha of Shishupal, but still it is not of the same category. He is telling that absorption is similar, but the nature of absorption is opposite. But Krishna awards. He does not see, okay, whether it is hatred or love. Absorption is on me, so I will reward you for that. That is Krishna. But still, gopis are far superior. There is no comparison between the gopis and Kamsa and Shishupal. So now, based on this verse, this was quoted here, that Gopyak kamad bhayat kamso dveshat chaidyadayon nrupa sambandhat vrishneha snehad yuyam bhaktya vayam vibho. And before that he said, kamad dveshat bhayat snehad yata bhakteshwara manah aveshyat tad agam hitva bahavas tad gatim gataha. Meaning, many people attained perfection by absorbing their minds in Krishna. Now the question is, the gopis are Nitya Siddhas. They are eternally perfect devotees. How can you say they attained perfection? Are they not already perfect? Sadhana Siddhas are called attained perfection. Gopis are always perfect, Nitya Siddha. Nitya means eternal, Siddha means perfect, Nitya Siddha means eternally perfect. Gopis are eternally perfect. How can you say, or the Vrishnis are eternally perfect? How can you say that they attained perfection? So, Srila Jiva Goswami explains that when Krishna performs Bhauma Leela, there is Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world, and then when Krishna performs the same Leelas or similar Leelas in the material world, that place is called as Bhauma Vrindavan. In Bhauma Vrindavan, when Krishna performs pastimes, it is seen that the gopis take birth, and at some stage of their life, they hear about Krishna. And when they hear about Krishna, they develop love for Krishna before even seeing Krishna. And that stage of love is called as Purvaraga. And then eventually when they meet Krishna, that love intensifies. So this is narrated by Narada Muni to Yudhishthir Maharaj to indicate the Bhauma Leela pastime. Similarly, the Vrishnis also, the elderly Gopas and Gopis who have Vatsalya Ras towards Krishna, before Krishna is born, that love is not completely manifest. It is in a very hidden state. But after Krishna takes birth, it manifests. It's called as Utkantita. So Purvarag in the case of the gopis who had conjugal affection for Krishna, and Utkantita in the case of Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, who had Vatsalya and other such rasas for Krishna. So in the Bhauma Leela, at some point the pastime indicates that they develop love for Krishna, which is the time of birth of Krishna. And similarly, the gopis also, they have a stage of Purvarag before developing that kind of intense attraction for Krishna. So in order to indicate that Bhauma Leela, there is this mention of Bahavas tad gatim gataha, they attained perfection. But in reality, in the spiritual world, they are Nitya Siddhas. They always have that love for Krishna, eternally. But in Bhauma Leela pastimes, they do take birth, they do grow up, they do hear about Krishna at some point, and that hearing develops some, that hearing gives birth to some desire for Krishna, like that. That stage of Purvarag is there only in the Bhauma Leela. In Goloka Vrindavan, they are eternally of the same age, and eternally they have that love for Krishna. So therefore, this indicates Bhauma Leela. That's why it is mentioned. Bahavas tad gatim gataha. They attained perfection. That is indicated here. Now, another controversial point, seemingly controversial point is, so Narada Muni says they all attained perfection. Kamsa attained perfection, Shishupal attained perfection, and Gopis also attained perfection. The Vrishnis also attained perfection. Now one may say, this is, how can the Gopis and the Vrishnis who had such pure love for Krishna? Bhagavatam it is mentioned, Shriyappatir Yagyapatir Prajapatir Dharampatir Lokapatir Dhiyampatihi Patir Gatischa Andaka Vrishni Satvatam Prasidatam me Bhagavan Satampatihi. He says, Krishna is the Lord of everything. But for the Vrishnis, he is the Pati and he is the Gati. So he is the Pati and Gati of both. So Patir Gatischa Andaka Vrishni Satvatam Prasidatam me Bhagavan Satampatihi. It is mentioned. So the Vrishnis are special. They had such deep love for Krishna. So therefore it is mentioned that how can those Vrishnis and Gopis attain the same destination as haters of Krishna, Kamsa and Shishupal? This is a fair question, because if both of them attain the same destination, then it would seem that Krishna lacks discrimination. Even in ordinary world, the ordinary politicians also reward those who are very good citizens and punish those who are very bad citizens. Law-abiding citizens are rewarded and law breakers are punished. So if ordinary politicians, selfish politicians have such discrimination, how can Krishna lack such basic discrimination? How can he give the same destination to Kamsa and the Gopis, Shishupal and the Vrishnis? How is it possible? Rupa Goswami knows that the reader of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu would get disappointed. So therefore he clarifies here. Yad arinam priyanam cha prapyam ekam ivoditam tad brahma krishnayor aikyat kirana arka upama jushoho. He says, Yad arinam priyanam cha ekam prapyam ivoditam. When the scriptures say, or when the 7th canto Narada Muni says that the enemies and the dear devotees like the Gopis and Vrishnis attained the same destination, it is like telling that Brahman and the sun rays and the sun are the same. The sun rays and sun are in one sense the same material, but to attain the sun and to attain the sun rays is different, or to attain Brahman and to attain the spiritual planet is different. Kirana arka upama jushoho, which means the Gopis attain the spiritual world and prema, whereas the demons who are killed by Krishna, they attain only the rays that emanate from the spiritual world, which is Brahmajyoti, Sayujya Mukti. It is not same. So Krishna is like that benevolent teacher who corrects. So a teacher may be a very, very magnanimous person. When he is correcting the papers, answer sheets, he has already pre-decided that I will not fail anyone. I will pass everyone. So in this way, like recently my father was sharing a story about his own college days. When they had an economics exam, my father's friend, he had not studied for the exam at all, but he wanted to impress the professor. So he wrote sheet after sheet, but all he knew was one statement from economics. That was, man is a social animal. So the whole paper he wrote, man is a social animal, man is a social animal, Man is a social animal. Like that, the whole answer sheet he filled with that same sentence. And the professor was a very magnanimous person. He gave some marks for that also. So he said, you could have given, you could have returned the blank sheet, but you took so much pain in writing the whole sheet with the same sentence, even though it may be the same sentence. It may have nothing in relation to the questions that were asked, but nevertheless, you took the pain to write that sentence again and again so many times. So I will give you some marks for that. So like that. That is a magnanimous teacher. So sometimes a magnanimous teacher might decide, whoever has written this exam, I will not fail anyone. That is my goal. So even such a teacher with discrimination, he will not give 100 marks to every student who has written. He may pass everyone. Someone may deserve only 10 marks. He will give them 40 marks and pass them. But someone who deserves to get 85 marks, he will give 99 marks and pass that person. So even such a magnanimous teacher will not lack discrimination. He will have some discrimination. If he gives 100 marks to everyone, the person who is fit to fail that exam, he will feel embarrassed. And all those people who have written exceptionally well, they will feel so dejected and let down. They will feel that the teacher has tapped us on the back. It's not reasonable. So if a teacher possesses that kind of a discrimination, why would Krishna not possess? These people, because of hating Krishna, are fit to go to hell. Krishna gives them liberation. But Sayujya Mukti, a residence in Brahmajyoti. But why would he give Brahmajyoti to his dear devotees? He will keep them near him and he will have loving pastimes with them. He will give them Krishna Prema. So therefore, a person who is reading this verse should not get discouraged. Why should I take so much trouble to love Krishna? I might as well hate Krishna. No. If you hate Krishna, Krishna will still give you benefit. Because instead of hating someone of this material world, you are hating Krishna. If you can muster that kind of a deep absorption in hatred, then Krishna will reward you. Why did Vena go to hell? Because Vena was self-absorbed person. He was thinking about himself all the time. And when he saw that the Brahmanas were worshipping Vishnu, he thought, oh, why Vishnu? You should worship me. So, in a mood of self-absorption, he hated Vishnu. But in the case of Shishupal and Kamsa, they were truly absorbed in Krishna actually, even though it was with hatred. So their level of absorption was so strong that they could not think of anything else but Krishna. Krishna rewarded them for that. But Vena was a self-absorbed person. And because Krishna happened to be an obstacle for that self-absorption, he hated Krishna. Therefore, he did not get. So even if we may want to hate Krishna, if we can hate with that kind of an absorption, which is very difficult, because we all are so self-absorbed. So therefore, it is better to love Krishna and go to the spiritual world than to hate Krishna and go to Brahmajyoti and do nothing there. So therefore, here Srila Rupa Goswami is clarifying that don't feel dejected. You love Krishna, you will get great reward. And if you hate Krishna, you will still be rewarded. But the reward will not be that great. It was stated in verse 274, quoting from Bhagavatam, that those with hatred and fear attained the goal as did those with conjugal love and affection. A doubt may arise, how can Krishna's enemy and friend attain the same That's what we discussed now. Okay. So, if a person becomes highly qualified, like the gopis and the vrishnis, they realize the condensed form of Krishna in the form of Akhila Rasamrita Murti, a personification of love, affection, and joy and bliss. But if a person is not so highly qualified like Shishupal and Kamsa, they realize a diluted form of the Lord in the form of Brahman, and they go to Brahman and reside there. Like that. So, actually, as we saw, those inimical to the Lord attain only Sayujya Mukti, merging in the Brahman, and they don't attain the spiritual world. He gives an example. So he says, Srila Rupa Goswami quotes here, Brahmanyeva layam yanti prayena ripavo harehe kechit prapyapi sarupya bhasam majjanti tatsuke. He says, Brahmani eva layam yanti prayena ripavo harehe. Mostly all the enemies killed by Krishna attain Sayujya Mukti only. Brahmanyeva layam yanti. They merge in the Brahman. Kechit. But some other people, Sarupya Bhasam Prapyapi, even though they may attain something like Sarupya Mukti, like we see in the case of Poundrak Vasudev. Poundrak was a very comical figure in Krishna's pastime. Somehow, he thought he was Krishna. And his ministers, who were just bootlickers, who were just, as in Hindi they say, talve chaat. They just wanted to glorify Poundrak Vasudev so that, they get some benefits, material benefits. So they were also telling, yeah, you are actual Krishna. That Vasudev there, he's a cheater, like that. Then he thought, okay, maybe really I am Krishna. So at some point he started fitting some artificial hands, because Krishna is four-handed in Dwaraka. So some four-handed, so two extra hands, it was so comical that people, out of fear of Poundrak, they would not laugh, but at least secretly they would be laughing because it was so comical. And at some point, he went to Krishna and he challenged Krishna. You are an imposter, I am the real Vasudev, like that. And he said, you have stolen my Sudarshan Chakra. Give me back my Sudarshan Chakra. And Krishna said, okay, take it. And it went and chopped off the head of Poundrak Vasudeva, and that was the end of him. But Krishna saw, here is a person who wants to look like me. So he said, okay, fine, go to Vaikunta. He sent him to Vaikunta. And Poundrak, he now had really four hands, and he really looked like Krishna. So Krishna rewarded him. But Acharyas say, but he did not get Sarupya Mukti. He got what is called as Sarupya Abhas. Abhas means a shadow, which looks like Sarupya, but it is not Sarupya. And he says, Majjanti Tatsuke. Even though he was in the spiritual world, but he was merged in the bliss of Brahman only. He did not have prema for Krishna. So even though he is not in Brahmajyoti, he is in the personal abode of the Lord, but his experience is that of the joy experienced in Brahmajyoti only. So therefore, Krishna, just like we saw this example of this teacher, he was magnanimous, but magnanimous with justice. One who deserved 10 marks, he gave them 40 marks. But one who deserved 80 marks, he gave them 99 marks also. So this is magnanimous, but justfully magnanimous. Krishna is not ridiculously magnanimous. Krishna is not unjust. Justice always is there in Krishna also. So Srila Rupa Goswami here mentions, others such as Shrigala Vasudev attained forms somewhat resembling that of the Lord, but remained merged in the happiness of Brahman rather than serving the Lord. He quotes another verse from, he quotes a verse from the Brahmanda Puran to give proof for this. Siddha lokastu tamasaha pare yatra vasantihi siddha brahmasuke magna daityascha harina hataha. So Brahmanda Puran says, Siddhaloka or the spiritual world, tamasastu pare, it exists beyond the material realm. Yatra, where daityascha harina hataha, the demons killed by Krishna, siddhaha, and some sages, vasantihi, they reside there, brahma sukhe magna, merged in the happiness of Brahman. So this is another proof that Krishna may sometimes even give the spiritual world, like he gave for Putana. He made her a nurse, Shrigala Vasudev or Poundrak Vasudev. He gave him a seemingly Sarupya Mukti, but Rupa Goswami is clarifying here, and he is quoting from Brahmanda Purana also, that Majjanti hi tatsuke, they are merged in the bliss of Brahman only. They are not experiencing the prema that Mother Yashoda has for Krishna. Even though in the spiritual world, Putana is also a nurse, sometimes taking care of Krishna, but the bliss that she experiences taking care of Krishna is the bliss of Brahmananda only. It is not the prema that is experienced by Mother Yashoda. So therefore, this should inspire. So therefore, a magnanimous teacher should inspire both the low scoring people and the high scoring people. That is a good teacher. And Krishna is like that. He inspires ordinary people who may not have that kind of love, and even people who have developed that love, by rewarding them accordingly. Okay, so then he says, while the demons attain Brahmajyoti, the devotees definitely attain his lotus feet. They definitely attain a loving relationship with him. He says, Ragabandena kenapi tambajanto vrajantyami angripadma sudha prema rupas tasya priyajana. Tasya priyajana. But those who are lovingly related to Krishna, the devotees of the Lord, prema rupaha, who are personification of prema, tam bhajanto ragabandena, and who worship him with intense spontaneous absorption, vrajanti angri padma sudaha, they attain the nectar of his lotus feet. They don't attain Brahmajyoti. Even though Brahmajyoti is also attained, considered liberation, but to attain personal relationship with Krishna and the loving reciprocation that one experiences from Krishna, and the joy of that reciprocation cannot be compared to, even a drop of that cannot be compared to the ocean of Brahmananda. Brahmananda bhavet purna chet pararda guni kritaha. It is mentioned that if the bliss of prema is compared to an ocean, real ocean, the bliss, the joy of merging in the Brahmajyoti cannot be compared to even one drop of that ocean. So, this is magnanimity with justice. Everyone is happy. Everyone is happy. The demon is happy. The devotee is happy. The demon is grateful. The devotee is grateful. This is Krishna. So, he quotes a verse from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, This is prayers by the Vedas personified. Personified Vedas are offering this prayer to Krishna. They say, Nibrita Marun Mano Akshad Drida Yoga Yujo Hridiyan Munaya Upasate Tad Arayo Api Yayuhu Smaranat Striya Uragendra Bhoga Bhuja Danda Vishakta Diyo Vayam Api Te Samaha Samadrisho Angri Saroja Sudaha. He says, so the personified Vedas say, Smaranat, by constantly thinking of Krishna, even the enemies of Krishna attained that same Brahmajyoti which is attained by the great yogis. That is Krishna. Even unfavorably meditating on Krishna, Krishna rewards. Vayamapi. Similarly, we, the Shrutis, te samaha, finally attaining a similar bodies, angri saroja sudaha, will achieve the same nectar from your lotus feet. We will also attain the same nectar from your lotus feet. Which kind of nectar? That nectar which was attained by your gopis. They relish the nectar of your loving serpentine arms when Krishna embraces the gopis with their arms. So the Shrutis or the personified Vedas are telling, we desire that same love that your gopis had for you. So therefore later these Shrutis, they become Shrutichari gopis. So the gopis whom they are seeing, whom they are aspiring that love, they are the Vrajavasis, they are the Nitya Siddha gopis, they are the Ragatmika Bhaktas. And these Shrutis who are aspiring for that same love, they are Shrutichari gopis. They are the Shrutichari gopis, like that. So here he is giving two things, 2 points are mentioned here, that how the enemies attained, who are killed by Krishna, they attained Brahman. And second is the examples of Ragatmika and Raganuga Bhakti. The Ragatmika Bhakti are the gopis, Bhaktas are the gopis of Vrindavan, the Nitya Siddha gopis. And these Vedas personified Vedas are aspiring after that love. So they are considered as Raganuga Bhaktas, like that. In the previous verse, the attainment of the Lord's feet also applies in general to persons who act with raga, though it directly indicates the gopis. So even though the example of gopis is given, but even this refers to the Vrishnis also. So the gopis mentioned in the Bhagavatam verse are the Kamarupa Ragatmika devotees, the Nitya Siddha gopis like Lalita, Vishaka, Radharani and so many other gopis. So these are the Nitya Siddha gopis. Seeing them, the Shrutis think, oh, we should also have this kind of love. So therefore they become Shrutichari gopis. They are the Raganuga sadhakas. Now when they achieve perfection, they become Sadhana Siddha gopis, like that. So that is about the scriptural proofs for Raganuga Bhakti. As we saw, Raganuga Bhakti is of two types. Ragatmika Bhakti is of two types. Kamarupa Ragatmika Bhakti and Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. So now we will start discussing about Kamarupa Ragatmika Bhakti. So first let's see the definition of Kamarupa Ragatmika Bhakti. So again, whenever a definition comes, I will do this exercise again just so that we can understand this concept properly. First we saw definition of Uttama Bhakti. This Uttama Bhakti can be practiced on the level of Cheshta and Bhava. Cheshta Rupa Anushilanam, Bhava Rupa Anushilanam. Cheshta Rupa Anushilanam is Sadhana Bhakti. Bhava Rupa Anushilanam is perfected bhakti, Siddha bhakti. So now, then we saw the definition of sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is engagement of senses and mind in the worship of Krishna with the desire to achieve bhava. Okay, but still that bhakti is also anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam. Then we saw the definition of raga vaidhi sadhana bhakti, when the impetus for engaging the senses in the activities of Krishna consciousness with a desire to attain bhava in the mood of anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam, when that impetus is coming from guru sadhu shastra, that is vaidhi sadhana. When that impetus is coming from greed for pleasing, for attaining the kind of love that the Vrajavasis have for Krishna, that is called as raganuga. Okay. Then we saw the definition of ragatmika bhakti. So ragatmika bhakti means, we saw that bhakti which in which the activities for pleasing Krishna are inspired by a deep thirst for pleasing Krishna, that is ragatmika. Now that deep thirst for pleasing Krishna, as we saw, can be a thirst in the mood of conjugal love. It can be a deep thirst in the mood of parental affection. It can be a deep thirst in the mood of friendship. It can be a deep thirst in the mood of servitude. Everything is called as ragatmika bhakti. But as we saw, it is divided into two types only, kama rupa and sambandha rupa. So kama rupa ragatmika bhakti means when the deep thirst takes the form of conjugal affection, that is called as kama rupa ragatmika bhakti. So Srila Rupa Goswami defines, sa kama rupa sambhoga trishnam yanayati swatam yadasyam krishna saukyartam eva kevala mudyama. Sa kama rupa, that kind of ragatmika bhakti is called as kama rupa ragatmika bhakti, ya, in which nayati, which produces swatam sambhoga trishnam, a natural and spontaneous thirst for conjugal attraction. Yad asyam krishna saukyartameva kevala mudyama. But conjugal attraction is, you can say, not very appreciated in the material world. That is why kama is considered to be very third class in one sense, especially if it is not between husband and wife, and the gopis are not legally wedded to Krishna. So, but the difference is that Krishna saukyartam eva kevalam udyama. That love is purely for the pleasure of Krishna and there is no selfish interest there. In the material world, we see so many cases of divorce. Even in India, it is catching up so fast. Why? Because the relationship is based on not the benefit of the other person, but it is based on selfish gratification. Therefore, when both personalities are interested in their own selfish gratification, it is bound to create frustration. But in the spiritual world, Krishna is wanting to give pleasure to the gopis and the gopis are wanting to give pleasure to Krishna. Therefore, there is no separation. Separation intensifies that love. In the material world, separation weakens that love. So therefore, there are so many cases of separation. But if you see in Krishna's Leela, at least from an external point of view, there was a decade of union and a century of separation. Krishna had about, after he became mature, 10 years of association with the gopis and almost a decade of separation from the gopis, more than a decade of separation. But that love only intensified and intensified and intensified. Why? Krishna Saukyartameva Kevalam Udyama. Because it was purely for the pleasure of Krishna. Therefore, therefore it is called as bhakti. Otherwise, otherwise the question may come, how can you call kama as bhakti? This kama is not kama that we know. This kama is actually prema. Because Krishna Saukyartam eva kevalam udyama. Because it is eagerness only to give pleasure for Krishna and not for one's own selfish benefit. That is why the gopis' love intensified when Krishna gave them a century of separation. And then he left. So, therefore it is called as kama. Therefore it is kama rupa raga atmika bhakti. Kama because its form is that of conjugal love. That intense absorption in the activities, the thirst is conjugal in type, and the absorption in activities are in the activities of conjugal affection, like stringing garlands for Krishna, cooking for Krishna, just like a wife would cook for Krishna, and in meeting Krishna, dancing with Krishna. They have absorption in these kind of activities. But for Krishna Saukyartam eva kevalam udyama, only for the pleasure of Krishna, not for their own personal gratification. Therefore, it is called as kama rupa because it has the form of conjugal love seen in this material world. But raga atmika, the essence is raga. The inspiration is raga. Raga means Krishna Saukyartam eva kevalam udyama. But in this material world, the conjugal affection seen is kama rupa, kamatmika bhukti. In the spiritual world, the gopis, what they have for Krishna is kama rupa, ragatmika bhakti. Bhakti because it is for the pleasure of Krishna. And raga atmika, that is indicated by, it is solely made of raga, deep absorption for pleasing Krishna. But it is called kama rupa because the external form, external way in which they try to please Krishna, it has the nature of material love between a male and female. Therefore, it is called as kama rupa raga atmika bhakti. But in the material love is kama rupa, it has the form of love or lust, kama atmika, and internally also it is inspired by lust, and it is bhukti for one's own gratification. That is the difference between the love of the gopis towards Krishna and the love of a male and a female in this material world. That is why the greatest of the renunciants, like Shukadeva Goswami, Vyasadeva, Narada Muni, they speak about, and the great acharyas in the parampara of, in our parampara, they have written so extensively about the love of Radha and Krishna in so great detail. In the esoteric books, it is in great detail, the loving exchanges between the gopis and Krishna. But Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami says, Hridrogam ashu apahinoti achirena dhira. So it is mentioned in the Falashruti of the Rasa Leela, it is mentioned that one who hears this Rasa Leela with faith, the lust within their heart is destroyed. But if you read a mundane love story, a mundane exchange of loving affection between a male and a female, it increases our lust. Therefore, this is quite different. Therefore, it is called as Kama Rupa only, but Raga Atmika Bhakti. Like that. The thirst for conjugal enjoyment, famous as Kama or lust, is actually a thirst composed of prema alone. It is prema, it is not actually Kama. With no trace of material lust, there is no trace of material lust there, and this thirst becomes one's essential nature. Just to indicate the form, like we discussed in one of the previous discussions, that even though every single person in Vrindavan, his activity is for Krishna Saukyartam eva kevalam udyama, only for the pleasure of Krishna, not for selfish pleasure at all. But it takes different forms based on the relationship that they have for Krishna. Like I gave the example, but I will give it again. I think I probably gave the example in a different course. But it is relevant here. It is actually more relevant here. Therefore, I will give the same example again. Every resident of Vrindavan, when Krishna chose to, I want to go and herd the calves. So Mother Yashoda thought, oh, but you cannot walk barefoot because Vrindavan is filled with lot of pebbles and thorns, your feet will hurt. So she made a beautiful pair of slippers for Krishna. Krishna said, oh, how wonderful, but the cows are also walking barefoot, you make slippers for them also. So, but there were like lakhs and lakhs of cows, and each has 4 feet. So how many pairs of slippers would Mother Yashoda make? But she was genuinely concerned, how can Krishna walk barefoot on the to the forest? Then even the Gopas were concerned. Oh, Krishna's feet must be hurting. But how did they show that concern to Krishna? They would sometimes carry Krishna on their shoulders. They would massage Krishna's feet. Concern is same, but the way in which that concern is expressed is according to the rasa that they have with Krishna. The gopis also, in one of the later verses we will see, the gopis are concerned that Krishna is walking barefoot in the forests of Vrindavan. So at night, when Krishna meets them for their for pastimes like Ras Leela, the gopis would embrace the feet of Krishna to their chest. Why? They were concerned, Krishna walked the whole day in the forest of Vrindavan. Some pebble or thorn might have hurt his feet. Same concern, but the gopis are not carrying Krishna on their shoulders, or they are not trying to make sandals for Krishna. They are showing that concern in a way that perfectly befits their relationship with Krishna by embracing the feet of Krishna. What to speak of human beings? Even the cows are concerned. Krishna has to walk barefoot just to herd us. Overnight, all the cows of Vrindavan went to all places of Vrindavan and they just powdered with their hoofs. They powdered the whole Vrindavan landscape and made it into buttery soft sand, so that Krishna would have a very pleasant experience. See, his concern is same. Krishna is walking barefoot, but the cows are expressing their concern in a way that befits their relationship with Krishna. They are not trying to embrace the lotus feet of Krishna. They are not trying to carry Krishna on their shoulders in a way that befits their relationship. So, and what to speak of the cows, even the land of Vrindavan, the dust of Vrindavan is concerned, Krishna's feet should be safe. So what do? They will become warm during winters and cool during summers in order to give the best experience for Krishna's feet. You see, in all these, one example only, same concern. Krishna Saukyartam eva kevalam udyama. Everyone was endeavoring for pleasing Krishna. The endeavor is same, but the form is different. So, in the land of Vrindavan, every single person is adamantly attached to two things: their deep intensity of love for Krishna and their form of love to Krishna also. So they are adamantly attached to both things, both the intensity of love and the form of love. So everyone shows love to Krishna in a way that befits their relationship with Krishna. So therefore here he says Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. So they are showing their love for Krishna, a desire to please Krishna, but in a way that is befitting their relationship with Krishna. Okay. And this Kamarupa Ragatmika Bhakti is specifically seen only in the gopis of Vrindavan. So Srila Rupa Goswami says, Iyam tu vrajadevishu suprasida virajate asam prema visheshoyam praptah kamapi madurim tattat krida nidanatvat kamayityuchyate buddhaha. He says, Iyam suprasida, this Kamarupa Bhakti, Kamarupa Ragatmika Bhakti that we have discussed now, suprasiddha, virajate, it appears with brilliance, vrajadevishu, in the gopis of Vrindavan. Ayam prema vishesho asam, they have a particular type of prema, kamapi madurim praptah, which has a special kind of sweetness. Kama iti uchyate budaihi tattat kridanidanatvat. But intelligent people call it kama only because its external form looks like conjugal affection between an ordinary male and female. But actually it is prema. That's what it is indicated here. So he gives an example of this, how the Vrajavasis showed this kind of love, how the gopis showed this kind of Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Krishna Saukyartam eva kevalam udyama, only purely for the pleasure of Krishna, but in a form that is conjugal in nature. You see here, so after he says that the gopis were speaking this verse when Krishna left them abruptly in the middle of Ras Leela. Ras Leela was happening and abruptly in the middle Krishna left them. So at that time the gopis say, Yatte sujata charanamburuham staneshu Bita shanair priyadadi mahikarkasheshu Tenatavim yat tad vyatate na kim svit kurpadibir brahmati dhir bhavadayusham naha. So he says, oh dearly beloved Krishna, your lotus feet are so soft that we place them gently on our breasts, fearing that your feet will be hurt. You see, same example. Our life rests in you. Our minds therefore are filled with anxiety that your tender feet might be wounded by pebbles as you roam around on the forest path. We are upset, we are in anxiety. Therefore, in order to alleviate Krishna's pain which they are perceiving, they are embracing Krishna's feet. This is Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Raga is indicated by their words when they say, your feet must be hurt, we are in anxiety. And Kama is indicated by their action of embracing Krishna's feet. You see, they are adamantly attached to both the form of love and the intensity of love, and the purpose of pleasing Krishna through that love. They are adamantly attached to all these three. Purpose is to please Krishna, for which they have intense love, that is intensity, for which also they are adamantly attached. And the form also takes, in the case of gopis, it takes the form of conjugal affection. So now Rupa Goswami is telling that he is explicitly mentioning that the word Kama in Kama Rupa actually indicates prema only. So he gives a proof from the Tantra Shastras, the Vaishnava Tantra, to indicate Premaiva Goparamanam Kamayati Agamat Pratam. The Kama Rupa Bhakti of the gopis has become famous simply as prema. So Kama and prema are the same. He gives a proof here. Iti Uddavadayo api etam vanchanti Bhagavat Priya. If this was just Kama, lust, then why would great devotees like Uddava aspire for that kind of love? So he says, the word iti indicates the reason why Kama Rupa Bhakti is well known as prema. Uddava, he mentions in one of these verses, expressing that, oh, I also desire this love that the gopis have for Krishna. Uddava was sent from Mathura to Vrindavan. Go and give my message to the gopis or the Vrajavasis. But actually he wanted Uddava to understand, don't underestimate the Vrajavasis. Uddava was going there thinking that I will educate the Vrajavasis. But when he actually went to Vrindavan, it was a most humbling experience. He thought, do I really have some love for Krishna? What is this love and what is my love? He could not identify his own love in the midst of the ocean of the Vrajavasis' love for Krishna. It is like you are carrying a present to a great person, and you think, I have purchased a present for 10,000 rupees. He must be really pleased with it. And then you go there and there are people waiting to present Jaguars and Mercedes Benz to that person, great person. And you are thinking, 10,000 rupees, you just hide your present and run away from there actually. So Uddhava was feeling like that when he saw the love of the Vrajavasis, especially the gopis towards Krishna. And then he says, Eta param tanubruto bhuvi gopavadvo Govinda eva nikilatmani ruda bhavaha Vanchanti yadbhava biyo munayo vayamcha Kim brahma janna birananta katarasasya. So Uddhava says, Eta bhuvi, in this whole earth, Gopavadvaha eva, only the gopis, the Gopavadus, Tanubruto param, have achieved the perfection of embodied life. No one else, including me. Outside Vrindavan, Uddhava is considered to be the greatest lover of Krishna. But when he comes to Vrindavan, he is searching for his own love. That is the love of the Vrajavasis. Ruda bhava, for they have achieved the perfection of unalloyed love. As they say in Bengali, Premer Parakashta, the perfection of love. Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Vargenaya Kalpita. This is the opinion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Amongst the lovers of Krishna, no one has ever loved Krishna with the kind of intensity that the gopis have for Krishna. Nikilatmani Govinda, For Govinda, no one has had no person has the kind of love that the gopis have for Krishna. Yad vanchanti, their love for Krishna is desired by those who fear material existence, by the great sages. I too desire that love, Uddhava says. And later he says, let me become a Gulmalata in Vrindavan. I will become a small piece of grass in the places where the gopis walk, so that I will receive the dust of their, I want to receive their dust, and when I am Uddhava, they give me respect. But I want the dust from their lotus feet. Let me become a Gulmalata, like that he was desiring. I desire their love for Krishna. I wish I had this love for Krishna, like that. So, here Srila Jiva Goswami clarifies that did Uddhava want to become a gopi himself? No. When Uddhava says, I want their love for Krishna, he is indicating, I want the intensity of love that they have for Krishna, but in a mood that is specific to mine. Everyone in Vrindavan and outside Vrindavan appreciate the love of the gopis. Even Bhishma Dev offered prayers. Lalita Gati Vilasa Valguhasa Pranaya Nirikshana. Like that he offers prayers to the gopis, appreciating their love for Krishna. What was their love? But he was aspiring for their intensity of love and not the form of love. So Uddhava had mixed Sakya and Dasya ras towards Krishna. He wanted to retain that mood only, but he wanted to have that intensity of love that Krishna had, that the gopis had for Krishna. But in the same mode, like once Prabhupada was traveling to a particular place, maybe from London he came to Los Angeles, somewhere, I don't remember the exact place, and the devotees who had come to receive Prabhupada were jumping in joy. They were crying, rolling in ground. All this was happening in the airport. And Shrutakirti Prabhu, who had been serving Prabhupada closely for a long time, he was feeling, I don't have this love for Prabhupada. Of course, out of his humility, he was thinking like that. And once when he was actually massaging Prabhupada, he could not tolerate this feeling of insufficiency. So he actually told Prabhupada, when you came to the airport, the kind of reception you got, these devotees have true love for you. I don't think I have that kind of love for you. They were crying for you. I could not. Prabhupada did not respond for a long time. And this was eating Shrutakirti Prabhu from inside. He was feeling very bad that he embarrassed Prabhupada like that. But after massage, Prabhupada took bath and then he came, honored prasadam. And after that he looked at Shrutakirti Prabhu and he asked, do you like the service that you are doing to me? And Shrutakirti Prabhu said, yes Prabhupada, it's so, I won't even trade, I can give my life for that service. So Prabhupada said, that is love. So, here Shrutakirti Prabhu, he was hankering, one day I should cry for Prabhupada. How come, where is that love? But still he was attached to his own service. They were serving Prabhupada in different ways. Someone was cooking, taking care of the deities for pleasing Prabhupada. Someone was distributing books for pleasing Prabhupada. But in doing that, they had developed such an intensity of love that when they saw Prabhupada, it was an outburst of emotion. They were crying. And Shrutakirti Prabhu has aspired for that intensity of love. One day I should cry for Prabhupada. But while serving him as a personal servant only. You see, even in relationships, in this is not, of course, a relationship between a spiritual master and his disciple is by no standard material relationship, but even between, what to speak of between Krishna and devotees, even between devotees, one can aspire for the intensity of love, but while cherishing one's own flavor of love towards the other devotee. So here Uddhava is aspiring for the same intensity of love of the gopis, but for in his own mixed mood of Sakya and Dasya, Rasa, like that. So he says that if everyone saw the gopis and aspired to become a gopi only, then the whole of Vrindavan and outside Vrindavan, all devotees should be gopis only. There should not be any other rasa. Because yadyad diyata urugaya vibhavayanti tattad vapu pranayase sadanugrahaya. Krishna, in order to benedict the devotees, in whatever form, whatever mood they desire to worship Krishna, he offers that mood. He makes them the gopis if they want to become gopis. So and everyone in Vraja and outside Vraja understand that the gopis are the greatest. But still, they have their own forms. They don't become gopis. What they are aspiring for is that intensity of that love, not the form of love. So Srila Jiva Goswami says, if they hankered for the same form of love also, then there would be no other sthayi bhavas. There would not be dasya, there would not be vatsalya, there would not be sakya. There would be only madhurya. But that is not true. So he says, Uddhava desired the intensity of their prema, but not their kama rupa bhava, which causes that intensity. Thus, when Uddhava says he desires their prema, he does not desire it in its form, but in intensity, like that. So having spoken about the gopis, we have to discuss about Kubja also. Kubja, she also was very attracted to Krishna in a mode of conjugal attraction. But Kubja's attraction for Krishna is not prema. It is not kama rupa ragatmika bhakti. It is actually kama only. You can say kama praya, almost kama. Because it was not for Krishna saukyartameva kevalam udyama. It was not for the pleasure of Krishna. It was for her own gratification. Then why is it called kama praya, almost kama? It is kama only. Kama praya because the object of that lust was Krishna. Therefore it is called as kama praya. It is no ordinary man. It was Krishna. Therefore it is called as kama praya. So Sri Rupa Goswami says, kama praya ratik kintu kubjayam eva sammata. But the wise agree that the attraction to Krishna seen in Kubja is essentially due to kama only. Kubja had a prominence of kama, is evident in her not showing the actions of the pure prema of the gopis. So she was not concerned about pleasure of Krishna, she was concerned about her own pleasure. And we saw the proof for pure prema is the gopis are embracing the lotus feet of Krishna, but with the deep concern that Krishna's feet might be hurt. So there the pleasure of Krishna is prime. But in the case of Kubja, it is mentioned in Bhagavatam, tato rupa guna audarya sampanna praha keshavam uttariyantam akrishya smayanti jata hrit shaya. Srila Shukadeva Goswami is explaining the actions of Kubja towards Krishna. Rupa guna audarya sampanna, endowed with beauty, character and generosity. Trivakra, Keshavam jata hritshaya. He calls it Hritshaya. Hritshaya means lust. Feeling lusty towards Krishna. Uttariyantam akrishya. She was pulling the uttariya of Krishna. Smayanti, while smiling. This is an activity purely generated by lust. Atma Saukhyartameva Kevalam Udyama. The action was for her own gratification and not for the pleasure of Krishna. However, she is said to have rati to a small degree because the object of her attraction was Krishna. But still, Kubja is special compared to an ordinary male and female having loving and affection for each other. Why? Because the object of her lust was also Krishna. Therefore, Kubja is glorious, but not as glorious as the gopis. So in this way, we have seen to some extent the topic of Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti, which is one type of Ragatmika Bhakti. So tomorrow we will start by discussing the Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. So thank you very much for your patient listening. So tomorrow when I start, I will start with a brief recap of what we have seen today, and then we will continue the discussion further. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.